All right, so thank you so much for joining the Healing Heart Circle. Today I'm going to share with you some discoveries that I made in preparing it. And the discoveries are related to our beautiful target, loneliness. The healing target is loneliness today. And so chapter 26 from A Course in Miracles is helping us, and an old friend is helping us. Teilhard de Chardin, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, is sharing with us some love poems that we will be using through the hour, so to speak. It has, like everything we do, if you start to come into a communication, then we have to really first come to the place where we can meet. And mostly I say, like, okay, let's be quiet and this is that. But I want to actually mention this specifically because that's the same with the poems that we're going to use from Teilhard. Teilhard made poems, they seem to be almost like scientific. He was a paleontologist, and so that was part of his background. He was a priest too. He was a Catholic priest. He was excommunicated too, just like some more Spinoza. And I use specifically Pierre Teilhard de Chardin because of his language. Not so much that it's difficult, not so much that it is. No, it is literally a bridge from an almost scientific language to pure essence, and he does that in a way that always hits me right on. It's so beautiful to use that and to see that. But in order to hear that, it's like it is a stretch. So it's you get into it, you sink into it, and then suddenly you discover the beauty of it. Now, of course, that happens when you start to open up and listening to it. I also made some music for it that came to me. I have to say, if I make music, when I say I make music, it's really like that's coming to me, not as in like, it's just it flows out of my hands with the things that are available for me. I can let that happen too as a bridging. For I don't know where it comes from, but it's beautiful, and it just comes like that. So I do that to support the poetry that is going to be shared. And I think in the expression that Teilhard does, of course, I will not let you wait too long, but the way that he expresses, makes his poetry and literally let it come to the surface, so it can be, communicated, is in fact already the process of you opening up for it. And that still sounds pretty abstract, I know. So that's the thing with this. Like to tap in. I can say this because this is one of the things that are so essential in his way of transferring, conveying what he wants to share, is the idea of unity. Now you can see unity as something that needs to come together, two parties coming together. But here he presents it, for instance, differently in terms of unity is the recognition that it is already united. Like we say with oneness, it's like, no, it is already united. Now you, when you think about yourself as being separate from everything that is, you start to discover that cannot be the case. If there's such thing as unity, as oneness, then there cannot be a separate entity. Now this fits in perfectly with the idea of loneliness, of course. But loneliness, I'm going to introduce that a little bit too, because Loneliness is not just a general state of I feel alone or something. No, it's like an essential part in your awakening to take a look at that and to allow yourself to feel it too. And first it works in the world that you see, like, I feel a complete alien here. It doesn't work. I cannot do this, what a normal human being can do. I cannot do that. I feel very lonely at that. So it's like it doesn't even relate to whether there are bodies around or not. Like the places where people are, where you meet people, where you place yourself, in fact, into an experience, can be with bodies or without bodies, and you can still feel lonely. This, of course, you recognize in your relationships too. Like you can be together with someone, but you can still feel very lonely in that relationship. And that's all temporal deep feelings of like a confusion almost, a confusion about what is actually occurring. Now, the essential part in the awakening of loneliness is that you discover that there's no world, there's no out there that I thought was there, with its own powers and its own opposition, its own things. And so I placed my value there, I placed my energy there, I had lots of expectations of this place. Now I discover that this world is actually not real. And more, it's almost like I spiral down into a center point within myself where I recognize there's nothing outside of me. There's literally nothing outside of me. And that in itself is of course a part of a devastation, an enormous devastation of your human idea about yourself. Literally it falls apart in that. Now that can temporarily feel very lonely because you're not able to function. You're not able to do it. Simple as that. You're not able to do that. Now here, the spiraling down, and the spiral goes deeper and deeper within yourself, and recognizing that in fact there's no solution out there. It can nowhere be found, because if there's anything, it has to be within me. So in fact, I discover, we saw this too with the Zen in the New Testament. It's like there's a single solitude. Like there's a solitude that is actually necessary for me to experience, because I have to end up with myself. In my idea about myself, that is my almost like the eye of the needle, where I move into a different experience of myself. That is exactly where that happens. Like the total devastation of every dream I had, or every expectation I had from relationships, from the world, from my body, from my, you name it. Coming to this one point of, in fact, a bottom that is your birth channel, and you move through it. And you start to come into a whole different experience of yourself. Like, in fact, this is the transformational process. This is the rebirth that is taking place in you. Now you can see if that's like I'm funneled into a devastation in my spiritual awakening. It doesn't sound very attractive, does it? So you're funneled into that. And at the same time, you have your practice. So there's a paradox involved too. It's like you have your practice. You come to learning or discovering new places within your mind where you can, in fact, have new experiences of connectedness. Whether that's a sudden shift in consciousness where you experience light, whether that's everything that's part of that. Now you see, that is very important, because in order for you not to fight this funneling into this center point in yourself, not to fight it too much or deny too much or resist it too much, your practice is going to be the catalyst for this whole process. It's going to speed up your transformation if you stay with your practice. Now, this is why we come together. There's an essential part in that. And this is why it's always so nurturing to do so, to actually give into, okay, I'm present in this class, I might as well open my ears and see, or my heart, and see what is actually possible here, where I can end up in my consciousness. Now this whole process, including what Teilhard de Chardin will be sharing with us, is in fact a new discovery. The new discovery for yourself becomes that your presence and your beingness is taking place not in physical form necessarily. It is like you don't need a body for that right away. Like it is of course used in communication and all this, sure, but in fact you come to the sphere, and Teilhard has a specific name for that, like a sphere where you look beyond the physical form, beyond perception, and you come into a sphere where you recognize that minds are joined. And this is, you have recognized that. If you follow this, if you're part of this class, you have experienced that. Minds are communicating. Minds are connected. Like bodies not. Simple as that. Like, no, they're not connected. So minds communicate. Minds are in direct communication with one another. And you discover that that is a whole new way of looking at yourself. Now, Teilhard uses this in the word new sphere. Like, it is a mental part, but it goes beyond mental. It's not just only mental. It is minds communicate. If your mind is open, it communicates, but not just with yourself, not just with God, no, with your neighbor too. And that's a lovely way of communicating. That's where the miracle happens. In the Course in Miracles, that's where the miracle happens. This is like the introduction to what we're going to share today, because let's do chapter 26 first. Like, there are three or four expressions that I like to bring in, and they have everything to do with the appointed friend. The appointed friend. Anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable and worth striving for can hurt you, and will do so. Just stating a fact here. Not because it has the power to hurt. Yeah, listen well. Not because it has the power to hurt, but just because you have denied it is but an illusion and made it real. So anything in this world that you believe is good and valuable, what you put out there, that you say like, yeah, that's great, that's wonderful, I want that. I have a desire for that, and I'm going for that, no matter what. It can hurt, and it will do so. Not because it has the power to hurt, but just because you have denied it is but an illusion. You forgot that it is an illusion, and you made it real as a real target to accomplish, and it hurts, because it's not going to give you what you expected it to give you. Because nothing outside of you can add anything to you. Yeah, so lead not your little lives in solitude, with one illusion as your only friend. This is no friendship worthy of God's Son, nor one with which he could remain content. But God has given him a better friend, in whom all power in earth and heaven rests. Who dwells with shadows is alone indeed, and loneliness is not the will of God. Would you allow one shadow to usurp the throne that God appointed for your friend? If you but realize its emptiness has left yours empty and unoccupied? Make no illusion, friend, for if you do, it can but take the place of him whom God has called your friend. Okay, so this is not so easy to hear right away, so let's take another look. Who dwells with shadows is alone indeed. Shadows is like time, the world. And loneliness is not the will of God. Would you allow one shadow to usurp the throne? Like make it so important that it becomes your idol, the one thing that you want? This, no matter what. Would you allow one shadow to usurp the throne that God appointed for your friend? Like actually, God has already a replacement for your illusions. It's standing right next to every illusion. If you but realized its emptiness has left yours empty and unoccupied. So the throne is empty. God is ready to put something there, someone there, like your real friend, and you chose to let it be empty and unoccupied. It was just an idol, it was just a mistake, that's all. Make no illusion, friend, for if you do, it can but take the place of him whom God has called your friend. And it is he who is your only friend in truth. He brings you gifts that are not of this world, and only he to whom they have been given can make sure that you receive them. He will place them on your throne when you make room for him on his. So this is always lovely. And it is he who is your only friend in truth. He brings you gifts that are not of this world, and only he to whom they have been given can make sure that you receive them. He will place them on your throne when you make room for him on his. It's like every illusion will be replaced by truth, you could say. If you have a goal set in this world, set for yourself, like this is what I want it to look like that. I want that image. I want that to be my reality. I have an image and dream that I want. Like that would literally take the place of the appointed friend that stands ready, that God already has appointed for you just to receive. And in fact it is like you have received the gifts already of this appointed friends. That's why you listen to this. Like you have already received gifts where you see, I cannot explain it. It is not of this world. But it certainly is an incredible gift, because I'm still carrying it with me in a sense as a happy memory. Now this is going to help me. So if I keep looking outside myself for fulfillment, for that what I think is important for me, for that what I think I should be able to accomplish, then it will be very lonely. Like I literally come into a place where there's no place for connectedness or for experiencing that what truly is part of me. The beauty, the love, the connectedness, the joy and the happiness. Like I will not be able to experience that. Now here, referring that back to our transformational process, because that's the healing that is in fact taking place, is now if you don't follow that dream, you could say, if you don't follow that dream, then that can feel as if you're losing something, and it can feel that there's like your whole future falls apart. Your whole idea, like the way that you are used to plan, to make it work, to visualize, to affirm, or to do whatever you do in order to accomplish a goal, falls apart. And that is a process that you have to let happen. Otherwise you pick things up and you keep circling around it's like in an unconscious, habitual pattern or loop, and that's not going to bring you anywhere. In the meantime, you're not able to receive the gifts of God, or the gifts that have nothing to do with this world. So that is always like your choice. If you are fully aware of what it is you're actually doing, then you have a choice. I'm expecting something from outside myself. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm letting that go. No, it's not what I want. And here things start to open up. You will have different experiences. Now it's like the moments of loneliness. You can say like loneliness in itself is okay, like as a feeling, because it's just a feeling, and you can go really deep into it, and it's like you can carry that with you for a long time. In this episode where you let go of the dream, it can feel like something has been taken away, or that you're on your own in it, that you don't have the support that you were used to in your dream. Like suddenly the ones that were supporting you fall away. They have no function anymore, because they cannot support you in what it actually is that is occurring. And so you end up with yourself in your solitude in that sense. So you end up coming in touch with yourself, opening up for a new experience for yourself, and that becomes your practice. Now this, like I said, when you go through the eye of the needle, as to say it like that, then suddenly you see the connectedness, and you see that there's no such thing as loneliness, that the release of what you thought was so valuable didn't bring you what you expected, and you're happy to let it go. You will in that sense not miss it at all. So the fear of missing out in the world and experiences of the world, the fear of having that is the only thing that's in fact holding you back from actually letting it go. And there's no reason for that. But it is a new way of being present, and that is new. So with the lessons that we do, with the meditation that we do, then suddenly you allow yourself to have new experiences. Now this is the only thing that will convince you that it actually works and it's worthwhile to do it. So that's why I say a regular practice is great, like a daily practice to come into moments that you take for yourself, where the world is in fact gone for a moment, and you enter into a present state that is fulfilling you. Even for an instant would already be sufficient. So that's the offering. All right, so, and that's also the healing possibility in all of this. The healing possibilities that we offer each other by attending this, by coming together, by seeing that, well, you have to do it yourself, but actually my brother is supporting me in doing so, because he does that too. And that's great if you find each other in this. That's really lovely. unity. An abstract term, maybe, in which philosophers delight. And yet it is primarily a very concrete quality with which we all dream of endowing our works and the world around us. Happiness, power, wealth, wisdom, holiness. These are all synonyms for a victory over the many. At the heart of every being lies the creation's dream of a principle which will one day give organic form to its fragmented treasures. God is unity. All right, thank you so much. So there's more. I will make a recording of it too, because they're really lovely. And so here, what is being exposed here is in fact this is like the universe. Eventually, you're going to discover that the universe is made of one stuff, one thing, which is love, which is what you are, which is what created you. But like we said, you move through the eye of the needle, like everything is in fact funneling you down into this one thing, this one moment, you could say, where you start to recognize what lies beyond. Now this is an introduction. This is a way to start this. And what I mean with that is, if the healing target is loneliness, how is this going to help you then? Well, here it is, like there are so many facets that we already mentioned. There are so many facets to look at the idea of loneliness, and the idea of loneliness changes all the time too, because you place yourself in different experiences and situations with different sceneries, different experiences. And so it's like there's a possibility here to be okay with the fact that you can feel lonely in this process, recognizing that it is essential to end up with yourself. Not that you have to do everything by yourself, is not what I'm saying, but more like you have to recognize that this all starts with you. In you is everything available. In you is everything present. And when you enter into that, you see that everywhere and everything is included in that too. Like you start to see a different world that goes beyond the descriptions you have given yourself before or given to the world. All right, so this is an introduction, like I said. So we're going to divide ourselves into a few groups, like 3, I think. And there's a possibility here to support. You support each other in one or another way. And it can be that you have to express, follow your intuition in that sense. Follow the impulses that are moving you in that moment that you're together. If that is quiet, that is quiet. If that is, oh, I have to share something, or this is a great discovery I make in this, and whatever that is, like there's place for that. Now that is being shared. This I say this many times, but it's like we share this with one another, not to hold on to it, not to make a law of it, not to make it real for ourselves. No, it's like you share it, and literally that is how you give. That is how you allow healing to take place. If you share from your own experience. The discoveries that you can make here is, and this would be a very nice one to look at too, is like minds communicate. Like, it has nothing to do with the images that you see. There's a communication possible. Right? The miraculous communication of a holy instant is possible in this moment. You don't know what to do with it. Sometimes you have to say words. Sometimes you have to share something, and suddenly something shifts, and you recognize, wow, that's the best thing. Maybe I should crack a joke, or I should do this or that. Like, if you feel that impulse, you can trust that. Or I feel very lonely and I have to express this. That is exactly the right ingredient, say, for that moment. So everything is, in fact, welcomed in that. Because you don't know how this is going to look. But the purpose of it is healing. So that's not going to change by anything.